Now then, how we doing? Those of you who watch regularly will already know me, because we were here when we saw the 4755 and the 7710, and I mentioned that he'd got a 3050, which was a bit unusual, and well, this is it. I mean, first impressions, it's a 3050, mechanical 4-wheel drive, 40k, same as any other one you'd see. But the things that sort of throwing us a bit is that 3050 standard is naturally aspirated straight 6. Then you get the 3350, like mine, still naturally aspirated straight 6. Then you get a 3650, which was turbocharged. Now a lot of people bought a 30 or a 33 and then they wanted more power, so they would go to somebody like a Pico or TB turbos and buy a kit, or have them come along and fit a turbo to it, and that was still a cheaper way of getting a turbocharged straight 6 Deere than buying the factory specification 3650. But this one has got, to what all intents and purposes appears to be, a factory fitted turbo. Now some of you will say, yeah, I've seen one of them, and I have. I've seen them with what is known by Deere as an altitude compensator, and that is for places such as what, Austria?
I believe it's listed for Austria in
the
parts manual.
Italy, Spain, where they're working up in the mountains. And just like a human, you know, you start climbing a mountain, you're going to get further up, and the higher you get, the thinner the air, the harder it is to breathe. It's the same for an engine. So Deere offered these altitude compensators, basically another way of cramming more air in when the air, you know, wasn't readily available. The other thing that's different about this tractor that we can see is that on the front prop, which obviously drives the front axle, there's a brake. Well, a lot of people will sort of say, well, yeah, obviously braked axles, that's thick. Yeah, this is 1987, this tractor, and even back when 40k was, you know, relatively new, the way that you got 4-wheel braking was that when you touched the brake, the 4-wheel drive would engage, so that the whole system then is linked and being braked by the rear brakes. But this one has got its own brake for the front axle, and again on a UK spec tractor. Now the history of this, as we said a bit about it, it's 1987. To all intents and purposes, it's a UK spec tractor, so it's ordered here, and you think it was on an estate in Norfolk?
I believe so, yeah.
So obviously, apart from things like the Beast and Bump, there ain't that many hills and mountains in Norfolk. So the altitude compensator would have been an expensive addition if that's factory fitted. As I said, you'd have gone aftermarket if you were going to turbo one, if you weren't buying a 3650. And then there's this brake. So basically, anyone out there, any of you guys out there that know any more UK spec tractors that have got this, so 3050 but with a factory turbo and this front brake. Like I said, we know you got the 4755, you got the 77, which is now your Chaser tractor.
Yeah.
So before you had the 77, what did you have on your Chaser?
This.
You had this on your Chaser.
Yeah.
So all right, we know it's got a little bit more horsepower, but obviously not a great deal. You still, what do you reckon? Even with that, I mean, the 36 is, what's that? 116 horse. They're rated out.
I'm not sure, to be honest, but the last time the engine was rebuilt on this, it was dynoed and it was pushing 118.
It's all right. You got 118 horsepower on there, so that's about right. You're looking around a 3650. So yeah, nothing mind blowing. That's what it should be. And you had that on the Chaser.
Yeah.
And how did it handle that?
Power-wise, it's not really an issue. It's the hydraulics.
Yeah.
You really have to keep the revs up to keep it pumping.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the hydraulics go so slow and it just dies on its feet.
But you could load her up and she'd pull that all right.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, those lights on the front were put on when I used to have this on the baler though.
You had this on the baler?
I had this on a mini Aston baler before, well, way before I even got the Super Chaser.
Right. Now, mini Heston, now what would be on that, if someone was running one today, what sort of horsepower would they have on that?
150 or 60 at least.
Yeah. And how did this handle that?
On the flat, it's not a problem. But I used to bale quite a bit of straw up in the wolds, and you could go downhill a lot faster than you could come back up it.
Yeah. Right. Quite simple in this. You got 1, 2, 3 and 4. You got a low range, you got a high range, you got a reverse. And that reverse, you got all them gears, you got 4 speeds in reverse as well. Then you got your splitter, with the high and low splitter, which under load when you're ploughing or whatever, just gives you a bit of a half change up or down. So, hand throttles there. You got your auxiliary spill valves, and then you got your 3-point linkage. Yeah. Off we go. You got this half split. Been brought up on the mob and stuff. I don't know what you're missing. I'll tell you what you're missing. Being deaf, having your spine all twisted and compressed, being shaken to bits, squeaky seats. Happy days. Well, there you are. Nice old 3050 that. And it's had a fairly hard old life, but it's been, been looked after, and just goes to show you can get the hours out of them if you do take care of them. The one thing, as I said, about that 3050 was that factory fitted turbo and that front prop, with a brake on it. I've certainly never seen a UK spec tractor with that all on, and I said I've seen them with imports and models when I've been abroad. I've seen things like that, but not on a UK one. So if any of you out there know a bit more about them, why they were done or whatever, or you had one yourself maybe, or drove one for somebody, let me know, because well, we're really interested, to be fair, just to find out. That sort of left us scratching our heads a bit. But anyway, well, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Look after yourselves. Well, there you go.